Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hero Nation podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about partnerships and what they look like, how to be successful at them, and what you can do to make them last a lifetime. Get ready for it happening right now. Welcome to the Hero Nation show, where businessmen and entrepreneurs just like you come to learn tools and tactics to help them live more epic lives. I'm your host and co-founder of Hero Nation, John Rinehart. Beside me is Tarina Mock today with M&C Realty here in Dallas, Texas. And today we're going to be talking about some fun stuff. Are you ready?
I am ready. I'm a little nervous, but I'm ready.
All right. So you started off in a partnership.
Yes.
Why?
Because I didn't want to do it all by myself. I knew I had a young family at the time, and I knew vacations were important. I knew my time with my family was important, and I knew that being there with my family was the most important thing. So when I couldn't be there for our clients, who is the most important thing to us on our business side, that I needed somebody I could trust to be with our clients on that side.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I'll preface this by saying this myself. So I have three businesses, and all three of my businesses, I started with a partner. Mm-hmm. Now, at like every single one of them, how much, now looking back,
yeah,
okay, because I know when sometimes when you're starting a business, there's can I actually do it alone? That's kind of the reason why we do that whole partnership thing.
Right.
How much of that do you think was actually real? How much of that do you think was actually fear? And how much do you think has actually benefited you going forward?
What do you mean by real?
Okay, so how many of the fears that you had starting a business and that you thought basically that a partner would alleviate were real? And how many of them do you think over time you're like, that was
the fear of starting in real estate, because I went from teaching preschool to going into real estate. So two totally different things, right?
Are they?
Yes,
okay.
They are. They are. Hugging little 5-year-olds and getting big hugs at the end of the day is so much better.
Well, I didn't know. It's still dealing with people. Sometimes people are still like little children. So real estate and preschool, same thing.
Well,
different playground.
And we have come to that realization that sometimes you have to teach your clients or treat your clients like preschoolers, because they don't know everything, and you have to start from the beginning.
Welcome to class.
Yes.
All right.
But there was fear. Some fear was real, and as the time has gone on, and now that I feel like I'm more of a seasoned real estate agent, that those fears are subsided. That I do feel like if something should happen to my teammate, which I hope never does, that I could do it on my own.
Okay, so that actually led me to my next question, which was this: if you were going to start another business again,
yes, would
you pick a partner or not?
That's a tough question, because again, my time with my family is the most important thing in my entire life, right? So it would be tough for me to just grab somebody and say, I'm going on vacation this week. I'm trusting you with everything I've built to move forward and take care of everything. Right. Where when I have a teammate, I know we're on the same page, and I know how they're going to take care of my clients. And I know that they're going to take very good care of my clients. Where somebody I may not know that well might not do what I would like. So
do you think it's just a trust issue, or do you think it's a training issue?
A little both.
So what are the things do you think that are absolutely irreplaceable by having a partner versus having an employee?
Well, money. I don't have to pay her, and she knows what to do, and I don't have to train her. We went into it together both at the same time. We trained at the same time, so there was no learning curve. We learned together. Does that make sense? So me having to bring somebody in and train them and take the time to train them, that would take more time, I feel, away from maybe my family time and maybe my personal time too.
So what was the trade-offs though?
The trade-offs of the positives or the negatives?
Well, what were the trade-offs from actually having actually bringing on a partner? Because there, in my experience, there are quite a few trade-offs.
Well, trade-offs is the commission. I'm splitting commission half and half every single deal we do. So that's a trade-off. That's a huge trade-off, right? Because people could say, well, you could do it on your own and make that much more. But again, time is money. Money is time. And then that's what's most important to me is my time with my family.
So what mindsets do you think you have to have in place to be able to successfully navigate a partnership going from the get-go?
Well, you have to have trust from the beginning. That's a mindset. I mean, right? That's probably the most important thing. I'm not sure what other mindsets you're meaning by that.
So, I think a mindset can be a lot of different things. So a mindset could be different personalities, how we divide and conquer, like what are the actual roles in place, so that stuff doesn't go in unbalanced. Right, where like one person ends up taking a lot of the load, another person just ends up kind of sloughing off.
Right.
Or that where let's say it's not a 50-50.
Right.
Right. Let's say it's like
somebody has a buyer's agent. And
or maybe let's say that you have like a 90-10.
Okay.
Or like a one, like maybe one has 1%, the other person has 99%.
Right.
Right. Like what's the distribution of responsibility from like maybe a partial owner to someone that's, there's different mindsets in there of like what can you actually ask of a partner.
Right.
Or do you think that like across the board? Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you owe 1% or whether you owe 99%. You got to do just as much as the person that does 99 because you're an owner.
No, I don't believe that. I think if you are only 1%er, then you don't have to do as much as that other person at all. But for us, our 50-50, we call it who's going to be the quarterback of this person, because every client mix and matches with different people. So with Wendy and I, who is my teammate, when we sit down to interview a client to decide if we want to go ahead and sell their house for them or not, we decide who is better fit personality-wise. When they take on that person, they've got that person 100%. That is their thing. If they need me to jump in, or if she needs me to jump in and help her out, I'll jump in and help out. But at that point, she has to ask for help. I'm not just going to overstep her and do that. Right. I think if it was me 90% and her only 10%, then I would do the buttload of the work. I would sit with the clients and meet with the clients. I would go out and put the houses on the market. I would do the open houses. Like the open houses, we do together the first time for sure, but most of the time she'll do the open houses. Is it?
So
am I going the wrong way with you?
I actually disagree with you.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Tell me why.
So here's my thing, and this kind of goes. Now I think that there's ground rules to be put in place.
Okay.
At the very beginning of any type of partnership.
Right.
Where you're just like it's clearly defined. Like this is going to go this way. This one's going to go this way.
Right.
Right. These are your roles.
Okay.
However, at the point that you obtain ownership, I actually think that it doesn't actually matter, because here's the deal. Bill Gates only owns 1% of Microsoft. Okay.
Right.
He only owned like 1% at one point, and yet he led the entire deal. So I actually think that regardless, if you're an owner, you're an owner.
Okay.
And I think that when you start trying to piddle out where here's the mindset, I think it kind of comes in contact with like, I only own one piece and you own this much.
Right.
That's actually a mindset of not an owner, but an employee. Where you're starting to get into that whole realm of, you know what, I'm only getting so much. And
so I'm only going to put in this much.
So I'm only going to put in this much.
Right.
Versus an owner's mindset, which is like, this is mine. And if it's mine, I treat it this way.
Right.
If it's my baby, which I would encourage people, like, don't get into businesses that are not your babies. If they're not your baby, it ain't your business. You can be an investor, but don't be a partner. There is a big difference in between an investor and a partner. An investor, you put money in, you're done.
Like a silent. You're step back.
Yeah, you have no input in. Partner, guys, it's a partnership. It's joining the team and it's pushing forward.
Right.
So I think it's important to stay at the beginning. Like if you are an owner.
Yeah, and it is your baby. You are right. Like
no one gets to say, "Oh, I only have 1% ownership in this thing."
But so you feel like if they only have 1% ownership, they're full owner. You're full blown in.
Now, how you distribute the rules, and there has to be someone that actually says like, this is the line.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm gonna have the final say on this. But that's the true across any type of CEO business relationship, regardless. There always has to be someone that says like, this is the line, regardless of how much ownership that person actually has of the company itself.
Okay, I see that too. I do see that, but I guess I always look at things from our point of view, from just us, just the two of us. But no, I totally see that too.
So I want you to go back to that one question.
Oh,
I want to know, like, would you do it again?
Yes.
If you knew everything that you knew right now?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Because, well, one, I love it. Two, I've had somebody by me through the tough times and the good times. I mean, she's not only my teammate, she's my friend. So we're there for each other too. So that's huge to me too. So I like that I have somebody to lean against when things don't go great. And I love having somebody there to celebrate with when things are great, right? So I love that. I also love that if I need time to back out and I need some rest time, she will jump in and do it. Vice versa. She needs some time to go do something. Go whatever, do whatever you got to do. I'm there for you. I've got you. I think having somebody have your back is one of the biggest and most important things to me in my real estate business.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
Have you planned your divorce?
No.
No. Why not?
Because that would be very hard. Because I don't like to think about the negative, I guess. But I'm sure that sometime, somewhere down the road, there will be some sort of divorce.
Okay, so you know the divorce is coming.
I know that one day it will, because I mean,
but you just haven't decided to like step into that.
I don't know where
she's
going. As of right now, there's no divorce. But as far as where we're going in the distant future, she might be somewhere else. I mean, she may get married and move off somewhere. I may be ready to move and go somewhere with my husband when both kids are graduated from school. So, yeah, there may be a divorce one day down the road, but
so why not plan it?
Because it makes me nervous.
Do you think it'll be more painful now to do it, or more painful later on?
I think it'll be more painful later on if I don't prepare now.
Something to do.
And it sounds like something Coach Wayne needs to teach me how to do, right?
So here's the deal, guys. Whenever you set up a partnership in any capacity, there needs to be we're going back to guidelines, but one of the guidelines actually needs to be how and why, what constitutes the divorce ahead of time. So
you think we needed to say what constitutes the reason for us to get divorced?
Well, like, okay, so if you did this, X, Y, and Z, this is how we're going to deal with this problem, right? You stole $2 million out of a bank account, and
that would be grounds for divorce.
Right? That's okay. That's grounds for divorce. Yes. But if you don't say so ahead of time, you know what? I took it out, but I was going to pay it back.
Yeah.
Like,
so see, you think
there's a lot of
friends
ahead of time, and then also like, all right, if in the event of a divorce, like, do you buy me out? Do I buy you out? If one wants to go ahead, one wants to get out, how is that going to work? How much time do I have? Do you want to sell it to someone else? I want to know how this is going to happen step by step ahead of time, so that when it actually comes time to, like, you know, we're separating out, that it's like, no problem. Here's the rule book that we set up ahead of time,
right,
of how we're going to do this.
Right.
So that whether I don't want to be in the business anymore, or there was a moral, ethical failure on some level, I'll pray that doesn't actually happen. But, you know, that it's like, no problem, just get in there and get it done.
Yeah.
So.
Which is smart, because I can see, you know, from the beginning, if you can have that in place, then the breakup can still help the friendship stay intact.
It does.
Yeah.
So here's my next question.
Oh gosh.
So how do you deal, or how have you been able to deal with conflict resolution inside the partnership?
Well,
do you have a plan?
I do now.
You do now.
Because it's a learning thing. Because if you don't set yourself up for when something happens, you don't know how to deal with it when it does happen.
Right.
So when something has happened, and, you know, before in the past,
what was that process like? What was it beforehand?
It was emotional.
Okay.
It was.
Just describe it to me. Like, what happened? Tell me a story. What happened?
Oh, I can't tell you the story.
Not specific, but like in general, like, what would happen? Would you, like, go to your old room and not, like, talk for like a week?
No, nothing like that. It was just, you could feel the tension, you know, and you could tell it was there. Words weren't being said. Honesty wasn't being, you know, put out there. And when it, and it's kind of like when Wayne has, you know, on some of the coaching that Wayne has said, is it's so much bigger in your head than when it comes out your mouth. And when the actual result of it isn't as bad as it was, as you built it up in your head, right? So that whole thought process, that whole stress, that whole worry, that whole moment of everything happening was more of my emotions and my worry and hurting people's feelings and all that. Just, it was harder to get it out, but once it was out, it was taken care of. rules were set, and that's kind of where boundaries were set, rules were set, and things, got resolved.
So how long did you wait before you actually got those rules in place?
Probably a couple of months.
So from the beginning, from when you started, or like a couple months ago?
No.
We went there 5 years, 9 months.
6 years ago, this happened. No, it took it probably took a few months to finally get, I think there was a lot of truth to be said. I think there was a lot of things to get out of the way. And I think it was a very emotional thing. So baby steps, but had something been in place that if this happened, this needed to be done, then I think that would have been a totally different situation, would have been an easier conversation to have as well. So yes, I mean, now it's in place, that if something does happen, in this situation again, the steps are, we have a conversation. We talk about, who's not happy, who's happy. Do you want out? Do you not want out? If you're not going to be out, this is what's going to happen. If you do want to be out, then, well, as far as money wise and everything like that, we haven't gone that technical on it, but you're welcome to leave and walk away. Or
but that kind of sounds like a setup for divorce to me.
Well, I guess kind of it is, but it hasn't been, I guess the money thing, buying each other out, I guess that's
the technical.
That's a bad divorce, right? That's when something ugly happens. You can just have that conversation and someone can walk away. I'm talking about the good divorce where everybody's very happy and somebody just wants to leave. We haven't discussed that.
Right, but I think there's more than one type of divorce.
Right.
Not every divorce ends up with
happy ever after.
Well, or with your clothes hanging outside the house. Like there's a whole medium ground in there.
Right.
Or like even if okay, let's say, you know what, I want to move on, but I want to keep my percentage of the company while you run it.
Right.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
So.
And that's probably a conversation we probably need to sit down and just sit and write down what exactly. But the conversation has been done that if a certain thing happens, situation where somebody wants to leave, that person can leave.
Okay.
And there's no problem. There's no hurt feelings. The friendship will always be there because the friendship came first.
Nice.
So,
nice.
And that's what was
huge.
most important. So, yeah.
That's really huge. That's something like if, I think one of the things that I've seen, so in preference, like I've lost partners before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like ugly?
Oh, one of them was bad. Well, one of them was.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Lawyers were involved.
Oh.
Like we didn't talk for almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
We were like best friends before.
Yeah.
Like it was bad.
Yeah.
Learned a lot.
Yeah. Well, and that's the situation. I think you learn. Sometimes I think you can plan for everything, but I think until something really happens, you don't really. I mean, you might have but what if it's something emotional and something where you can help that person out too? Mm-hmm. Do you go ahead and go through what you put down, or do you do it by a case-by-case situation?
You know what? I think that you have to have a plan, and I don't think you can be half and half. Like, I think I'm going to help them this time, and then next time I think I'm going to follow the rule book.
Yeah.
I think that having those consistent standards throughout your business relationship allows for actually there to be a lot more relaxed atmosphere because you know what's going to happen. So I think one of the things is like, so on my first deal, let me put it this way. We had a plan. Mm-hmm. One person decided they didn't care what the plan said at all, and they were jumping out. Oh. I had my divorce planned. One person said, I don't really care whether we had it planned or not.
This is what he wanted.
No, she.
Oh, she.
She's like, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And I didn't react well. That was my biggest mistake.
Yeah.
So in these type of situations, my biggest thing is always now is a I would rather respond rather than react.
Yes.
Always. Give me 5 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. Give me a day.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you and we'll talk about this. Because tell me this: when your partner starts talking and they start getting like almost feeling like you know what, I may want out.
Yeah.
Does something jump inside you?
No, and there's been a conversation that maybe something might happen one day where she might have to get out, but nothing jumps inside me, but I just kind of go, but I know I can do it now. You know what I mean? I know I'm not scared to move forward on my own. Where if she had said this a year into it, I might be afraid to jump out on my own. So like next year, if she had to get out or she needed to get out, I'd be like, okay, I can do this on my own. I got this, you know, where 4 years ago, I would have been like, no, don't leave me yet, you know, or something like that, right? Yeah. So. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
This is good.
This is so fun. Everybody should come and watch this podcast.
Oh, suck up. All right, guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. As always, Hero Nation is sponsored by Hero Nation Fuel. Guys, if you haven't joined Hero Nation Fuel, if you haven't got on and you haven't become part of the community where you have a group of just like-minded individuals to help you kind of press forward, get into these kind of conversations on a day-to-day basis, guys, that'll leap you forward in your business quite a bit. Go ahead and sign up. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can go ahead on to theheronation.com, find everything that you need. Guys, until next time, this has been the Hero Nation Show. My name is John Rinehart, and I will see you later. Be your own hero.